Race 1 for the MX2 GP bikes, and it was straight away from the start this traditional sandy track here at the Benelux GP at Lierop, and we saw the KTMs straight away into the lead. It was Rui Gonçalves who took the early lead, followed in by Tyler Rattray, the world champion-elect, as we were saying, in Ireland, and he really was looking extremely good. But right the way through, it was Eric Eggins, who had done some superb qualifying, was also up in the mix as well, fighting with Tommy Searle, who was absolutely fighting for his Grand Prix life down here, trying to get back and take points away from Tyler Rattray coming into this race. Some 27 points in the lead with only 2 rounds of the championship to go. Got overhauled Rui Gonçalves, his teammate in the Red Bull KTM team awning, and all of a sudden it was Searle that was coming through to try and make an impression on Rattray, but it wasn't to be. Right at the end with a superb lap by Searle, he just managed only second place with Rattray in front. In MX1 it was right the way up the front. We thought this was going to be a day for the Teka Suzukis and Steve Ramon and Ken Dedeker, but the man that was on pole was Marc de Ruva. This was his track, his GP, and nobody was going to try and take that away from him. It was Jonathan Barragan who was moving his way up to the front, had a monumental crash behind Max Nagel, and then we had the cat and mouse tactics with Ken Dedeker coming through on Philip Arts, who was riding oh so carefully to preserve that points lead, and de Ruva was scything through the field like a knife through butter. Dedeker and Nagel fighting it out with the Suzuki and the KTM, literally neck and neck down the back end of the circuit, and Ken was trying his best, and Nagel just drops the bike and gives de Ruva another spot. So then Mark decided to make the moves and moved up through into the first position. Dedeker got tangled up in the fence, but it was the Honda Martin's first GP win coming in here at their home track down with Marc de Ruva. With the second race away of the MX2 GP, there was a couple of riders that went down which didn't damage the championship hopefuls, and it was Searle, Rattray, and the GP winner of Lommel. It was also Krestanoff up there as well, proving that he can ride with the big boys. As he tried to make a break out the front, it was the 2 KTM Red Bull challengers for first and second in the World Championship that were starting the fight. Then it was up to Tyler Rattray, got back into the groove, started to make things work, and drew out into the lead. Searle took a couple of laps to overhaul Krestanoff, who was fighting for third position at the time, and it was Searle that was trying to crawl back on his teammate and the guy that was in front in the World Championship. Krestanoff was having all sorts of fun and games back there, as Nicholas Albin on the Yamaha, who was up in the third position in the championship, was fighting for points. But at the end of the day, it was the man again, the number 4, which is certainly going to change somewhere along the way in the last round of the championship, maybe to a number 1, but we'll wait and see on that one. The weather changed completely with rain pouring down at the start of the second MX1 GP, as we saw Ramon disappear out to the front but fade very, very quickly. Again, it was Nagel and Barragan on the KTMs that led the way round here, as they were looking to put a KTM 1-2 on the ball. Then all of a sudden, this huge crash in which de Ruva joined in. We thought there was going to be nothing left of these two, but they were both up safely, and de Ruva then was on the fight back to try and claim his home GP. Nagel got tangled up with Philip Arts and Dedeker, and there was a gorgeous 3-way dice between these riders, and Philip Arts was riding his luck, and de Ruva on yet another comeback, making his way through to the head of the field, overtaking Dedeker. So the Dutchman and the Belgian leading the way. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Manuel Preem came along on the Kawasaki and pushed himself right up to the front of the field. He faded, and after a second crash, de Ruva came through on Dedeker and started to push his way up the front. He was seesawing backwards and forwards as Prem decided that he was going to literally physically run out of steam. Dedeker moved to claim the lead back again. Coppins was coming through until this happened and halted the Kiwi literally right in his tracks and drops him back down from second position. But the win was Dedeker's in the second GP, and brought it home very, very quickly. World Championship still alive.